I'm having my one.
Here we are. We weren't ready for that, Paul, but I'm going
I
to keep
wasn't.
it. I'm going to
I
keep
was
it.
looking
Keep
down
it
at
in.
my phone.
I'm going to keep it in. Here
Yeah.
we are, episode 81. Like the endless progression, procession, and progression. I might start this again.
Do you want me to look down at my phone again? I think you should just keep the whole lot in.
Okay. Well, why not? Look, this is the level of professional. We're
Progression.
good. We're good. It's been a long day. We're all fine. Here we are. I am keeping this all in. At episode 81. Like the endless procession of time, we are slowly making our way towards the magic 100 episodes. Oh, what exciting things await us in 19 episodes' time. Also, the recording of this particular episode exactly coincides, did you know, Paul, with the release of our first podcast episode 3 years ago, making this our 3 year podcast anniversary. Can you believe it?
I can, and I did know because you told me just before we started recording.
True, and you have got that tattoo on your upper thigh of the release date, haven't you? So, uh,
Yeah. I
so
scoped out my wife's birthday and our anniversary to fit it on.
as long as you don't put it on your neck, neck tattoos are for if you've given up on life. So, Paul, you're here too. It's not just me. Listen, just
Hello.
heard from you. The viewers saw you. Can you quite believe we are at episode 81 and 3 years into this rambling?
No, I mean, for anyone that's listened from the start, I mean,
Good on you.
yeah, I can't believe you stuck it out.
Yeah, what are you doing? Get a hobby. Come on. I know we're all about the hobby. We're all about the hobby. So ahead of today's recording, I did have a quick hark back to that first episode, and oh my goodness, the sound was awful. It's before we don't use expensive mics. We're not the richest podcasters, but we have at least got a mic of some description now. But you listen back to those, it's not great. It really isn't
Is it
great,
like
that
the
first
early
one.
Simpsons, where you think they're good and then the animation's terrible and the sound quality's awful?
Exactly. They also make us sound really young. So we could put it down to the audio, or having 3 years of podcasts has taken a real toll on our ages. So
And children.
all of the above, right? Uh, but I thought what we could do is do a quick test, quick quiz, quick fire quiz. You love a
Oh,
quiz,
no,
Paul, and
I
you
do.
love things that go back in time and get you to remember stuff. So let's see how much you remember. They're very easy, these. So, who was the first host of our very first episode?
Oh,
Who ran that episode, Paul? Who was it? Got three
what
choices.
was it? Because what was our first one? Did we do Lost Ruins of Arnak?
Well, you've jumped ahead, and that is another question. So you've got a point there. Well done.
So if it was Arnak, was it Neil or was it you? I'm going you.
You're right. I hosted the very first one. Neither of you wanted to do it, so I did
No.
it. Okay, good. So question one, correct.
Yeah.
Question two. Oh, there you go. Wonder if that's going to come up. A little bubble just popped up for the YouTube. Maybe we'll see. I'm going to do that at every point you've got. You can get a little thumbs up emoji on there. Uh,
Doesn't do it on mine.
doesn't do it for you. No, no, sorry. Okay, next question is how long was that first episode? How many hours and minutes did we spend talking about Arnak and
What?
other stuff?
1 hour
Yeah.
and 27 minutes.
It's not a bad guess. 1 hour and 11.
Ah,
So you're not too far out. That would, if you were within five, I would have given you points, but you weren't, so you're not getting any. So the first game we reviewed was,
Lost Ruins
you
of Arnak.
literally just said it.
Short term
Good,
memory.
good, good. It was
Lost Ruins of Arnak.
who Lost Rizana, correct? Just checking you still remembered from 2 seconds ago. Most importantly, can you remember who won?
Who won?
Who do you think won that very first episode?
I mean, bizarrely, was it you?
I'm deeply hurt by the bizarrely, but yes, sure. You're right.
Because
It
then,
was me.
yeah, and then you didn't win one for like the
A couple of episodes, let's say, a couple of episodes. Listen
yeah.
back, listen, and you'll find out.
Was
Uh,
this whole quiz just built around highlighting that you won a game
oh, come
3
on.
years
Would I
ago?
do that? Would I do that? Absolutely outrageous. Okay, now a very difficult question. I've got two questions left for you. Can you guess what our hilarious title was for the first episode? We always try and drop a quote in our titles. This would be absolutely phenomenal if you remember, but we have talked about at least part of this quite a lot. So I'll give you a point if you get a bit of it. It's
I can get
something
it's
and
something
something
at
else.
yeah, because we did two things and then it got very long, so we cut down to one. Or maybe we weren't that funny and we didn't have two hilarious
We were
quotes.
definitely not that funny, I can confirm that.
Okay. Um, no, it's not coming to me.
Listener, I'm sure you know, of course you do. Fantasy Tums and Lazy Caesar. I
Hazy
can
Caesar, that
vaguely
was
remember
the one.
what Vaguely Caesar was about, or the game. I do know that one. Why we were talking about Fantasy Tums, we've no idea.
One of us had acid reflux. It's a
Middle-aged men, probably.
running
Yeah.
theme of the last 3 years, I think.
Trying to talk at the same time. It's always going to happen. Okay, final one. Any idea what we scored? Lost Ruins of Arnak. Don't get the spreadsheet open.
No, I don't have the spreadsheet open. Otherwise, I might have got some other info on it. I'm gonna go what a combined score
Combined score, the podcast score, as we would call it now.
8.6.
Oh, we were not that generous.
Were
We
we not
were
that?
not that generous. No. So it's a very average score. What do we always say? Seven
Seven.
is a good score. It was 7.5. So I scored it an 8. Neil scored it 8.5. You brought us down.
Well,
You scored it a 7, so we got
I do.
7.5 average.
Yeah. Okay, but seven's still a good score, as you say.
Seven's still a good score.
But
It's a good
Lost
score.
Ruins of Arnak isn't that good.
Want to find out? Go all the way back to episode 1. So 72 reviews, over 5,000 minutes. I couldn't be bothered to calculate the whole thing, so somewhere around that. And 9 wins for me later. Here we are. Uh, and we're still going and we're not stopping anytime soon. So to celebrate our birthday, we have a beautiful I'm having my one limited edition coffee mug to give away. If I was organized and planned enough, I would have had one here. So let's imagine there's a mug here. Maybe in the magic of editing, we'll put that in there for the YouTube. For the listener of the podcast, audio only, we are definitely holding a mug where it says I'm having my one right now. So we have one of these limited edition coffee mugs to give away. And you no doubt have seen it in our amazing social media accounts and are desperate to get one. So have a listen through this episode for the phrase that pays and tell us what game we are talking about when we say block and roll. Drop us a message on social media or via I'm having my one at gmail.com and let us know. Again, all we need from you right now is the name of the game we're talking about when we say block and roll. And you can be in with a chance to win a fantastic I'm having my one mug. Good luck. We are very lucky on this pod to be sponsored by the wonderful online board game shop Chaos Cards. They are truly wonderful. And if you haven't tried them yet, do our podcast a favour and get a £5 discount by entering the code IMH1JUL25. So that is,
Catchy as always.
as always, the letters IMH number one JUL25. So effectively, I'm having one July 25. Can I explain that anymore,
Maybe
Paul?
with the magic of editing, it can be flashing on the screen.
Absolutely. Watch the YouTube. When you spend £50 on board games, there is one use of this beautiful code per customer, Sounding a bit Trump there. Beautiful, beautiful bill. Excludes pre-orders and damaged items. Every time that code is used, it helps our podcast and gives you access to a nice little perk to use at chaoscards.co.uk. Have a look today. So, Paul, on this mini pod episode, we're returning to the old favourite on the table. We haven't visited this feature for a while, but we have been playing quite a lot on Board Game Arena recently. And we thought it might be good to catch you up, listener, with what we've been playing. It's a platform that, a long time ago, talking about former episodes, we once talked about different technology in games, right? And I remember at the time we had tried Board Game Arena, but we actually just didn't quite get on with it at the time, right? And we are like, oh no, we're a bit more rally the troops and tabletop simulator kind of guys when it comes to digital
Yeah.
gaming. But actually, you recently, or relatively recently, purchased a premium membership, right? Which opened the door to so many more games.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of changed our mind on it, right?
So yes and no. So I think for me, Board Game Arena really sits in the uh, rally the troops category
Right.
of asynchronous. Is that the word I
Sure.
want?
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, offline play.
Mm,
Because the few games we have had where we play in person, oh, I still prefer playing it on Tabletop Simulator,
right.
even though BGA has got so much more scripting, it essentially is like playing a computer game version of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Tabletop Simulator, you have to kind of move and sort everything out largely yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but especially that last game of Terraforming Mars we had, for example, it didn't have the same interactivity.
And also then is more difficult to teach people, right? And I think that that's the thing that Tabletop Simulator does have. But we have certainly have been playing a load more with BGA. I know that for myself, my opinion has changed on it, being able to play so many more games, and they're constantly adding to it. And I think between when we did review it and now, there are so many more again. So pick a game you'd like to start with, Paul. We're going to talk about a few games here. And I think we'll talk about the games a little bit and how they are in BGA. Um, but obviously, this is an on the table episode, so it's a bit about what we've been playing and enjoy.
Yeah. So let's start with Orleans.
Yeah.
A load of games of those.
Yes. And it's just one of the best games of its type, I think. Not that there are there loads of games, we've reviewed this on the pod, but are there loads of games like Orleans? I don't know there are really. It's fantastic, the bag building element of it,
Bag
and
building that does it, right?
I think so. I'm not very good at it. It is a game that plays very well in this async way, right? That you very easily kind of take an action, a turn or something like that, and then it gets next person back and forth over a few turns, a day or whatever. And it's been really good to play it again. I haven't played Orleans like the actual version for ages. We actually happened to play it a couple of weeks ago now on my Wednesday night board gaming. Partly inspired for me by the enthusiasm that we've been playing on BGA. But it's been so good to get that game out again. Is there is there anything particularly for you that's you own Orleans, don't you? Do you?
No,
Oh, okay,
no,
okay.
because you do, and the person I play it with is you.
Right.
Um, if you sold it, I'd probably buy a copy.
Right.
But
This
eh,
one of the things I like about it is that there feel like there can be, I haven't proved this very often, lots of ways to win,
yeah,
right? In that you it it feels like you can take a number of different routes. So these tracks, right? This is a monk track sort of game. There is literally a monk bag or selection token that you can take and put in, and whether it's your architects or whatever. I have that is one tactic that I have been trying in our recent games on BGA is to try and take more of the, I'm calling the architects, they're not architects, they're little craftsmen, the brown tokens, and trying to early game fill up a few spots with those, and then also get through the, I think it's the merchant, the black token, where you can get new actions to try and then use those craftsmen up, or artisans, whatever the hell they are. It's not totally paying off, but but this is the point. This is the thing that I think is so good about Orleans is that every game I feel like, oh, I can try something a little bit different
That's a
with that.
new game.
Mm.
And I've done the same because as part of the sort of the upgrades extra cards you get, I tried one where you could use your blue men and your grey men for it instead of other people, which then meant you didn't need to get the monks.
Yep, yep. That is
Focused on
good.
other
Yeah,
tracks. Um, However, I still lost, so maybe that didn't work.
yeah. It's a great one. We did review it all the way back on episode. I'm going to just find quickly. I did have this open in front of me, so listener, bear with. Episode. Oh, episode 19, going back some time. So back in March 2023. So if you want to hear our thoughts in more detail, have a look back onto that episode. What else? What's another game that
So the
that you
one I'm
pull
so
out?
glad we've played is Architects of the West Kingdom.
Yes, you love anything that's Garfield games, it seems to me,
I
right?
think they just do such good games. Well, I may have mentioned it on occasional podcasts, but I do enjoy a worker placement.
Really? I don't think that's come up across the last 81.
Just drop, drop it, drop
Try
that in.
mentioning it more. Yeah.
Yeah. And they do worker placement games and they do them very well. And I think this is a real shining example of a slightly different way of doing it
Mhm.
because you start with loads of meeples and you can kind of throw them all out, but you've then got to take actions to you can't just get them all back at the end of a round or with an action. So there's almost a kind of little mini game of, or when am I going to grab some workers back? Or when am I even going to steal some of my opponent's workers?
Yeah. And it's got a Stone Age, and this is a work placement thing that I really like. A Stone Age style, it's based on the number of workers that you've got there,
Yeah.
right? Which is very cool to be able to do that, to be able to double. And actually, even there's some actions that you, I think, with the when you're getting clay. So the game more broadly, if you haven't played it, listener, is that you are it's medieval, generic medieval. I think France again in theory, village, town, and you are
Got city because you're building a cathedral.
well, not yet, Paul, not yet.
Going to be
Going to be
progressing towards a city.
towards a city that you are building buildings, getting workers, all of which is getting you points, and also then contributing to a certain extent on the cathedral if you want to do this. And I like then with those actions, as I said, that you get more back based on how many workers you got there, but also the things like with the clay pit. So when you're getting the resources there, I think it's something along the lines of if you have multiple workers there, you get a clay plus however many workers you got there. But also you can, if you've got two workers there, you can choose instead to get a gold. Apparently, if you just dig hard enough in clay, you find gold. I think that's a fact. So yeah, I agree. It's cool. I have found, unfortunately, it might be my browser. I have looked this up, and I think it might be. I need to update the software on my computer that the browser is maybe causing a problem. But I did find I call it script in a kind of tabletop similar kind of way, but the game on BJ a bit buggy and did make a couple of mistakes in some of the games that I played because I thought it had done something, but it hadn't because it had just been a bit glitchy
Okay.
on there. Did you not find that at all? no.
No.
So I think it may have been my browser. So I just need to do some
Yeah.
updates and maybe it'll be okay. But yeah, great, a great
Really
game.
good. And another game a bit like Orleans where there's kind of multiple ways of winning.
True, true. Yeah, absolutely. We should, 'cause you can go down this like nefarious route of I've never done it, upstanding gentleman that I am. But you can, I think that's across multiple of their games actually, where you can go like a virtuous route
Yeah.
in what you're doing, or you can go down the get stuff quicker, but then get negative points at the end. But I guess if you really go for it, you can get you could do well
Yeah.
at that. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone down the bad route
I've I've,
in
I've
in
tried
a
it
Garfield game?
I've tried it once on Architect, and it didn't pay off for me.
Mm.
But I think I just, like you said, you've got to go for it.
Yep.
There's no point in, oh, I'll do
Do a
some
couple.
good, and then I'll do some bad. You've got, I think you've got to pick your lane and just go. And
Yeah.
then if you've got what you need, I think then nearer the end of the game, pushing just to bring that rating up so you're not losing as many points.
Yeah. And there are different ways of doing that, right? That you can, yeah, if you were good at this game, which I'm not, you could have buildings, I think, that you build and maybe people and stuff. There's various bonuses like that, as well as things that you do on the map that can increase your virtuousness through the end of the game, which has been good. And the artwork, I love the artwork in all of the games, the Garfield games that we've played. The the look of it across the medieval stuff always appealed to me. They're kind of a little bit Asterix adjacent. I've always thought in not like the racist version that we were talking about a few weeks ago, but a little bit like caricatured style art, aren't they? And I think those are good. Do you know what I'd really love them to do on that? Because I was a big fan of the West Kingdoms games. There's three of them: Architects, Paladins, and Viscounts. And I played Architects and Viscounts. There's this thing called the Tome Saga, which you can get, which campaigns them together. I'd love it if BGA could come up with a way that you could do that across, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
that'd be really
all
clever.
three games with the tome saga. That'd be really, really great. Maybe beyond the scope of what they can do with it. I don't know, but this software ultimately you can do whatever you want. Um, but they've got so many. One of the things about Garfield games is they do loads of games, right? Is there how many series are there? There's the North Sea, there's the West Kingdom, there's the what's the more recent one you've got?
South Tigris.
South Tigris series. Uh, is the
Then
um,
then they've got other historical sort of things. So they've
right?
got Ezra and Nehemiah, the
Yes,
Legacy of You as their solo game.
that's
They
true.
like they churn out games, and that's not a negative. Like it's not like some companies you feel it's just a production press where essentially they're making the same game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, I've played the three North Sea games, and they're all very different from one another.
Mm,
I've got haven't got round to playing the third South Tigris game, but I've played the first two, and I've got the third one here ready to have a go.
yep.
And again, they're all very different. And yes, of course, they kind of borrow a few concepts, but take
Right,
Wingspan and Finspan. That's with a couple of tweaks, a reskinning,
right,
essentially. That's how I felt.
right.
Finspan's slightly easier, but it's kind of the same
You're
game.
doing the same thing. I've definitely seen that across the games that I used to have of Architects and Viscounts. That there's a different sort of thing that you're trying to do. There's
Yeah.
still going to be work placement and resource collection, that sort of thing, right? I think it's not just the artwork of a Garfield game that makes you know it is one of them, right? Is that
Yeah.
there are traits, tropes, if you like, about the way in which the games are played. Iconography, very, very, very important to what they do and do it very well. So anyway, it's BGA is uh, a great place um, to have that. And yeah, if this ever gets anywhere near somebody who has anything to do with BGA, which I doubt, but let's all campaign for it, listeners. Get some sort of West Kingdom campaign thing going on. That'd be amazing. Okay, should we talk Seven Wonders Duel?
All day long, I could talk about this game.
It's so good, this game, isn't it? I heard some other reviewer talking about this in the context, I can't remember who it was, annoying, but in the context of the new Lord of the Rings duel.
Right, okay.
And actually, I think I've heard a couple of people talk about it and say that it's just that the original, that new game is amazing, but coming on the back of a so-so game that was Seven Wonders Duel. And every time I hear it, I think, have you played this game?
I know. It's
Seven
brilliant.
Wonders Duel is one of the best simple two-player games out there, I think.
Yeah, I've been trying to teach my wife, but I've just not had a suitable time where it's just the two of us and she's in the mood to learn a new game.
Right.
So there have been times when she's in the mood to learn a new game, but other people want to play games with us, so we've done something different. Whereas other times we've sat down just the two of us, but she's like, oh, I feel a bit tired. I don't want to pick new rules up. However, we are going away for a few days this week, so I'm going to slip it in the bag and see what happens.
It's a great game for those kind of you talk to me about it a lot, right? Of you in your household, you'll have little games that you play at gaps in between life,
Yeah,
right? And this fits in very well for that for me. This is one that we on this side have played while the kids are eating their food. So be maybe Sunday night, for some reason we're not all eating together, and so the kids having an early dinner, and dinner's made, kids are sat down, they're eating, we're chatting. We might just have a game of Seven Wonders Duel while that's going on. And
yeah,
it's not a heavy, so anyway, I play it, we play it. It's not a heavy thinker. So it's just the choices that are in front of you, right? I think probably somebody smarter than me, or I think increasingly in life, people who can be bothered more than me, care about winning more than I do, will probably have a really good strategy and go, look, this is the route that I'm going to take with this game. But for me, um, it's a very straightforward and simple thing to be playing in those situations where the choices are easy. You just are almost turn by turn, I think, really just what's the choice? Are you going to build that card, that building? Are you going to sell it for cash? Or are you going to use it for the wonder, or some of the other things that you can do with the expansions? Which is a good point, actually. We have been playing on BGA, which has been cool with a couple of the expansions, right?
yeah. So our main one's been the Pantheon expansion,
Mm.
which is fantastic. It gives you this other because the main part of Seven Wonders Duel is building your little deck in front of you, your tableau in front of you, trying to gain as much victory points as possible. But then you've got a science track kind of mini game going on, and then you've got the military mini game going on. But then Pantheon adds this kind of third element where in the first round you're drafting cards to go in the Pantheon, and depending on where they go, there are bonuses or benefits to how close they are to your side, whether you can invoke these quite powerful one-off help of the gods type card
Yeah.
to allow you to do other things.
Mm.
And I think it's so clever and it works so well.
Do you? Yeah, okay. I mean, I think you just got to block and roll with it sometimes, but the I can kind of take it or leave it with that expansion.
Okay.
That I think I don't necessarily need any sort of expansion for.
No.
Seven Wonders. It's so good by itself. I enjoy it so much. You don't need to. The Pantheon one, I get it. And I think there's a nice little dynamic there of the way in which you have that dial, say, towards you, that the cards will be cheaper, that you place, or you can make cards cheaper that are good for you,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Is the other. I like that. I think it's a good thing, and I'd love to see that in other games. Maybe I just don't know. I don't know that you need it in Seven
No,
Wonders.
I don't think you do.
What was the other one? Sorry, that we did the Senate one.
Was it the Colosseum? I can't remember.
Something.
I can't remember
Was
what
it?
it was called. I didn't really get it.
No, it sort of just passed us by really. We had a couple of goes with it, and it's seemed to be about getting influence within a sort of Roman Senate type thing, and
Yeah.
it just, yeah, I know. Anyway,
I, I think with the expansions, they make the game a bit longer as well, and they
yeah,
make the game a bit more complex. So going back to your while the kids are eating or as a coffee break game,
yeah,
I think no expansions, much like the Garfield
it's
games. Yeah, let's go with
difficult
that.
that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Iconography is really clear, really easy. So once you kind of got an idea of what you're doing,
Yeah, yeah,
it just clicks and flows.
absolutely. And it's Seven Wonders Duel is a huge, it's a travel game almost, right? It comes really
Yeah,
nice, small, thin, light. Box that you can very easily put in a suitcase. And when you start taking the expansions, they all come in these quite long, weirdly long boxes.
funny shape.
Yeah, and what's that all about? Anyway, don't need them, but the it's been all right. But Seven Wonders Duel, loved it. All right, I think the last game we're going to talk about is another one we've reviewed on the podcast. In fact, all of these have been apart from Architects. We need to do some more Garfield stuff on
Yeah,
this podcast. Listen out in the future, listener. We may do more. Listen and listen and listen. White Castle, the White Castle. We talked
yeah,
about it quite recently um, on episode 74 from April this year. If you want to have a look at that or have a listen to that, listener rather. We've played this an absolute ton to the point actually fairly recently I said I actually need to not play it for a couple of weeks because just I'm gonna stop loving it. Sneak preview on what I'm about to say on this, but you go first. Like what's your thoughts on White Castle? We reviewed this, you and I, as a podcast uh, game score of 7.63 based on a 7.75 from me and a 7.5 from you. We've talked about this in the past where we try and play games at least a couple of times before we review them and get a review. But where are you now with this game? Has that changed?
yeah.
Given
I
your
would
time
say
again, would you change the score?
I'm maybe even creeping up to an 8. It's
A
grown on.
whole half point extra.
I think as discussed, there are still doesn't quite feel long enough, but it's really grown on me actually. And since we played a few 4-player games, which add extra dynamics really
I
with
do.
how you because you can stack dice, which you can't do in 2-player games.
Mm.
Yeah, I really like it, and I want to play it more.
Yeah. Well, we actually just set up another game now recently, haven't we, with a couple of our dear listeners. Um, and I'm ready for a bit more White Castle now. I We fixed podcast game scores. I'm sure at some point in the future we'll come back and do another thing like we did before, where we look back over all the games and try and rank them again at some point. Maybe that's a good one for when we've got to 100 episodes.
Yeah,
Or certainly maybe 100 games reviewed because we had that problem last time, right? Anyway, given my time again, I think would probably increase my score. I have really enjoyed playing this, and as you said, the difference between 2-player and 4-player, and I think it is fantastic at both.
yeah,
I might slightly prefer a 2-player, I think, but it's great that the game works really well, albeit in slightly different ways, and in the opportunities and how you play it. I think at those different player counts. It is a game that I think really lends itself to BGA
It does, yes.
because I feel like I can really visualize what my options are there.
Yeah.
Because
Because
it is a
because
board, there's a
things
lot going
combo,
on. Right, right, right.
and then you can end up. I mean, some turns are really short. I'm going to put a dice here and then take that thing, and then it's my turn over.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get these lovely combos where it triggers the next thing, triggers the next thing. And yeah, I've had a couple of those, and you realize you get to the last thing, and then actually you're not getting anything because you maxed something out, or you don't have enough coins, or whatever it might be. So I think that yeah, being able to kind of plan it out step by step on BGA. I don't know what's wrong. I can't, not very good with the acronyms. Um, but because you can plan it out step by step, you can then go, right, that is the thing that works. And I wouldn't do that if we were playing in person,
No.
because however much I believe in the one, you know, I don't want to get kicked off the podcast by saying, shouldn't always have a one. But I would feel if I'd spent 5 minutes planning out a really long turn to then say, oh no, it doesn't do the thing I thought it would at the end. Can I take
Yeah,
all those steps back and start?
absolutely.
No, no way.
No interest in playing with people who would do that, right? Because
Yeah.
that's not the spirit of how we like to play games, which is that's a big part of that is trying to play at a reasonable pace. And I know some people play games where they do spend 20 minutes thinking about every turn. That's just not something that we enjoy doing. So I'm completely with you. You can't do that with the White Castle when you're playing it in person. But it is a game that really, really, really benefits from being able to do that and on having an asynchronous game on BGA where you can actually go all the way through to the point of confirming. Then you go nope and click undo, and it takes it all the way back, and you do it. Get your time over with really not impacting anybody in a major way. Okay, there might be somebody kept slightly longer for their turn, but you're playing it asynchronously anyway. Right, so in theory, they're waiting several hours at least between the turns, so I don't think it's a problem, and just
No,
allows you to step through that whole thing.
yeah, we're trying to get out what, a couple of turns, maybe 3 turns a day.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah,
So yeah, if you're spending an extra 5, 10 minutes of your own time faffing about, then yeah, it's not a problem.
yeah, agreed. So I think that about sums up what we've been playing. It's a little bit of a different on the table than we've done before. I do really like this feature. We'll try and come back to it more often because we are playing a load of games we're just not talking about very much at the moment, apart from little tags on stuff on Instagram and Blue Sky. So we'll come back and talk about some of the things. I know you do like this, listener. You've told us you like us talking about the games that we're playing, so we'll come back and do it some more. If you're keen on giving us a game of any of these things that we've spoken about, I'm sure we'll be up for it. Or maybe you think there's a game out there that we should be trying. Please drop us a message on Blue Sky or Instagram or email us directly at imhavingmy1@gmail.com and we'll set it up. One of our listeners sent me a message a few weeks ago, months ago, about a game called Alte, which is a Alte, not sure. Made a big impression, obviously. But it's a Paolo Mori game, and it's great. We had a fantastic myself and this listener and one of their buddies. We had a game on there, and they sort of patiently let me really mess up their game, and and it was great, and I really enjoyed having a play around with something new. So if you'd like to do that, I think send us one of those messages. We're going to be too difficult to find, unfortunately, on BGA because of the names that we chose when we set it up. So send us a message, and I'm sure we can get something going. That has been episode 81. We have been the I'm Having My One podcast, and you have been kind enough to listen to the end. So thank you. Check out Chaos Cards, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye. I'm having my one.